This is the Range Rover Velar, and it has won so many awards for its fashionable and stylish design. And I think you and me will both agree that it's such a good looking SUV, with its really sporty and low roofline, but also just a really dynamic and aggressive stance on the road. Now, when you buy your Range Rover Velar, it comes in two basic flavours. You get the Velar and the Velar R Dynamic. Now, this one we have here is the R Dynamic. And what that gives it is just a more sporty edge compared to the more elegant standard Velar. The R Dynamic models really do set the Range Rover Velar off, as they add redesigned front and back bumpers and black and copper detailing around the car. And inside you also get some nice R Dynamic tread plates and also aluminium pedals. As soon as you get into the Range Rover Velar's interior, especially in the lighter colours, it's such a show-stopping interior. It really does make you think, wow, what an excellent interior of a car, with a really elegant and uncluttered design, with a very minimalistic design too, with this sort of floating centre console here. And why it looks so good is partially because they've got rid of like almost all the buttons in the interior, and everything is displayed through these two intuitive screens in the centre. This top one here is more like your satellite navigation and your radio, and this lower screen here is like your climate and your train response settings. What makes it so intuitive to use though is how the fact they've still kept these two dials, which makes it easy to set temperatures and change between driving modes too. It's not all style and no substance though, with a very conveniently placed hidden cup holder, more storage here, a nice wide and deep centre console, and a reasonable size glove box, as well as huge door bins. And for such a large car, you'll actually be surprised how good the visibility is. Despite the excellent design language, it doesn't actually sacrifice any of the rear view visibility, and you actually get a very clear view of what's behind you throughout the rear view mirror too. Fitting child seats or simply getting older relatives in and out of the back is made extremely easy thanks to the wide opening doors. So, once you get into the back of the Range Rover Velar interior, the first thing you notice is how you get a really nice view of the stylish cockpit up front. And there's also some nice detailing, such as this gloss black plastic and premium aluminium trim too. There's also a couple of air vents for ventilation back here and a 12-volt socket. It's also worth noting that on the options list you can also get rear heated seats too. The seats themselves are very comfortable, they're a nice raked position, so it makes long journeys a breeze. And there's also a set soft and supple centre armrest with a couple of cup holders too, as well as these aeroplane style premium feeling magazine holders in the back of both seats. The boot opens with a click of a button on the key or just a light touch of the button underneath the boot, and it reveals a very wide load space with a very competitive cargo size, and there's no load lip as well, which allows easy access for putting big items into the boot. So then, what's the Range Rover Velar like on the road? Well, for such a large vehicle, it doesn't actually feel that intimidating to drive, and it's made extra easy by the standard fitment of a reversing camera on every trim level, as well as front and rear parking sensors, which helps with parking this relatively large car. As far as driving, you've got choice of petrol and diesel powertrains, with the entry-level D180 being easily sufficient enough to propel this large Range Rover along. Although if you want a more effortless and seamless power delivery, then go for the 3-litre diesel, which is absolutely silky smooth. Now though, if you want to combat that diesel hatred at the moment, then go for one of the petrol models like this one. This is the P250, which is using the 2-litre Ingenium petrol engine under the bonnet, and it's really silky smooth. And the efficiency isn't too bad. You'll get about 30 miles per gallon on the combined cycle, which isn't all that bad for such a large and relatively performance SUV, with 0 to 60 coming in at 6.7 seconds, which is very impressive for such a car. Now, if you put the gearbox in S mode and take this car down a back road, you'll be surprised of how well it handles, with minimal body roll and also a good amount of feel through the wheel. Despite its coupe-like styling, this Velar has to live up to the Land Rover reputation off-road. That's why it comes with the standard fitment of train response, which lets you choose between different off-road driving modes. And it comes with a minimum wading depth of 600mm, which improves to 650mm if you go for the optional air suspension. The Velar is a very impressive car indeed, with its excellent design language, which doesn't affect the practicality and versatility of this SUV, and it still retains its hardcore Land Rover off-road capability. With loads more videos on the way, don't forget to subscribe, and also feel free to follow Cars of Desire on Instagram.